And welcome to Carson City on a snowy, cold day, but we're glad that you made the trip out here. It just shows what your dedication is to public education, to make sure that your voices are heard. First of all, I'd like to introduce Christina Bourne, who will lead us to the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I want to thank Christina is here from here in Carson City. She teaches here in the school district. Again, my name is Ruben Maria. Mark Twain Elementary. All right. So I'm a special education teacher also, but I want to thank Nathan Anderson from Washoe Education Association for spearheading this event. This is a statewide event. At the same time, we have educators in Clark County who are gathering at the Grand Story Building doing the same thing. Natha, thank you for your leadership on this. We appreciate it. Also, we want to welcome members of the Washoe Education Association, the Washoe Support Professionals Education, and also representing the 50 rural counties of Nevada, the UNISERV Council of Nevada, from Nye County to Lincoln to Esmeralda, all across the rest of the state. Welcome here. We know that your commitment to public ed goes from not only Washoe and Clark, but throughout the rest of the state. So thank you for being here. When we think about the promise of education today, we see the future leaders of our nation and the qualified educators who reach, teach, and inspire them. We see classrooms with water tools that help students prepare for the impact that they're going to make on the world. We see students getting the support they need to thrive and educators having the support they need to serve. We see progress and hope. But today we also see budget cuts beginning to cut into classrooms, overcrowded classrooms, outdated materials. We see educators working around the clock to make a difference in the lives of our students and standing up with lawmakers to ask for better pay and school funding. We're raising our voices together for our students, for our schools, and for ourselves as educators. That's why we wear red for ed. So we wear red for ed. Red for ed. Red for ed. All right, thank you. Next up, I want to introduce President of the Washoe Education Association, Nathan Anderson.
Thank you so much. Good morning. My name is Nathan Anderson. I'm a 20-year veteran in the classroom, and I miss it greatly. But I am enjoying also serving as president of the Washoe Education Association. I'm wearing red because I know the people representing us, of which we have some assembly members right over here and a few over here as well. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for joining us, all of you, for being here, because I know the people that are representing us, they also will not accept some of the numbers that are attached to our education system. I know that they believe in a strong public education system across the state, regardless of zip codes and area codes. I know that these individuals will not accept being 48th in the nation when it comes to funding, nor being 50th in the nation when it comes to class sizes. These individuals that have been elected are hearing us. They care what we have to say, and they also believe that a statewide ratio of 26-1, when the average is 16-1, is unacceptable for our kids. Over the last 2 years, WEA Executive Director Tom Stouse and I have had the chance to visit almost 75 of our schools in Washoe. And overwhelmingly, whether you are teachers or counselors, support professionals, or principals, the number one concern are our class sizes. But it also has to do with our morale. The number of forms we have to fill out, the numerous other non-classroom experiences that have nothing to do with helping our students learn. It's taking away our ability to teach and to counsel and to help our students succeed. We are losing too many educators because of poor working conditions, because of stagnant wages, because of those increased insurance costs. We're facing a reduction of people joining our education community, and that's just not acceptable. We are having this rally so early in the session because, again, I know these individuals who have put the time in to run and are elected to serve care about what we're doing in education. They have 120 days, well now it's less, to actually try to fix this problem. And I believe that their heart and their mind and their souls are in to do so. This is not for us to get upset with them. This is us to work together to find a solution for our kids and our public schools. We know the legislators are hearing us and they want to fix these problems. We already have some bills from last session that actually address the over-testing, so that way we can get back to teaching. Now we need to hear about that. There are some bills that will be coming up that address our caseloads and our class sizes. Now is our time to actually do something about it. We know they are aware of the need to increase our salaries. And we realize the legislators have a very difficult balancing act. And we respect and appreciate the work that they are doing to get that balancing act of fixing a broken revenue system with the needs of a growing education system. Finally, I wear red today in solidarity with my NSEA brothers and sisters in Clark County, with my NEA brothers and sisters around our nation, whether that was in Denver, in West Virginia, in LA, in Oklahoma, in Arizona. So why do you wear red? Why are you wearing red? Why are you wearing red? It's my honor and pleasure now to introduce Assembly Majority Leader Teresa Benitez Thompson.
Cold out here, but we're not gonna let the cold deter us. We're gonna keep on the fight despite the temperatures, right? And man, have we been in some fights together. A lot of you have made this trip down to the legislature for many years. For almost every year that you've been teaching, you've been an advocate as well. But I want to remind you of some of the battles that we've fought together and where we've been able to make progress. So when I was first elected in 2011, you all supported me in the creation of the Office of Parental Involvement and Family Education within the Department of Education. And why was that important? It was the first time that we had actual funding and dedicated staff within Department of Ed to help us with our efforts on family engagement and parental involvement. And we were seeing different things happening in the state. The funding was coming in, the funding was going out, but we wanted that funding to stick. So you guys were big help in getting that done in 2011, and I thank you for that. Also, we have fought hard. In 2015, we fought hard for full day kindergarten. You'll remember that. Remember when you had to pay for full day K? Remember that? Well, the state dedicated $39 million and we got full day kindergarten paid for and implemented throughout this state. And we're seeing our students perform better as a result of it. Also, and this is for, I'm representing Assembly District 27 up in Northern Nevada, so we'll remember the fight that we had in 2016 with WC1 to get our capital funding in place, right? And how hard everyone worked here for almost 2 years so that we could get a ballot initiative that would raise more money so we could have more buildings and alleviate overcrowding in our schools. We see that, we see the buildings growing, we see that expansion, and that was a hard-fought battle that you all put 2 years into in order to secure funding for, and I applaud you for that. That was a big deal. It went from 7.25 to 8.2%, remember the sales tax, but 57% of the voters supported it. That's huge. We said we'll pay more. The voters said we'll pay more, and we did. Now we know that in front of us we have more fights. We've got more fights. We have to have tough conversations about class sizes. We have to have tough conversations about funding. We have to have real conversations about fairness. And that's what this session will be about. So please don't give up the fight. I know you're here today. If you can't be present the rest of the session, you know how to email us, to contact us, to tweet us, and make sure that your voices are heard. And thank you for being here to fight with the Red for Ed.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have the chair of Assembly Education, Chairman Tyrone Thompson.
Good morning. Good morning. Are we fired up? Good, because we need to make this snow melt. So stay here. We need that. Again, my name is Tyrone Thompson, the proud Assemblyman in District 17, which is in North Las Vegas, the community that I was born and raised in. And so one thing that I want to say before I get started is that I thank my grandmother today. Because my grandmother, she's no longer with us, but she's always with me every single day, because she didn't have the quality education that she really deserved, but she always pushed every single one of us, get your education. And so I really appreciate that. I'm a proud graduate of Valley High School. Yes, class of 1985. I almost said 65, but 85. So I'm glad to be popping my red for. That's right. I just want to say that I thank each and every one of you, the educators, the teachers that are here. You do so much for our students, and you're such an important part of their lives and their development. I know that I can reflect on all of my teachers, and each one of them created a special place in my knowledge base, and so on and so forth. So I really want to thank you for that. And I want to say that it's unfair that you haven't been given all the resources that you need and deserve. Come on, let's give it up for that. Totally unfair for that. We have an outdated funding formula that undercuts our local schools. And I just want to share with you all that I have something in common with that funding formula. It was established the same year that I was born. And I know that I have changed in 51 years, and I know that it needs to change, right? Yeah, we need to do that. So let's keep it real. And this is real. And this is data. This is what we know, that our students of color, especially those in low-income neighborhoods, are disproportionately affected by this outdated formula. So we got to get ready for that, because think about it. Once we start shifting and making this right, it's not going to feel right, but we know that it's right. So are you with me on that? All right. And so one personal thing about in my district, I love my district as well as I know all my colleagues love their district. I love the principals in my district. They have my cell phone number. They will text me if something's not going right in the district. And I just appreciate them doing what they can with the resources that they are given. So I just wanted to say that on the record. And then lastly, I know and think this can happen, right? Yeah. Do I need to think it or I need to know it? No. I need to know that this can happen. So I'm appreciative that you all are here with us in this effort. I want you to call us and school us, that is a pun, school us on what's wrong. You know, don't assume that we know everything in your world like you don't know everything in our world either. So let's share together and let's do this, because I'm popping my red. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So the Senate caucus just broke to come out and actually see us. So if I could actually have all of our legislators come on back, so that way we can recognize and thank you for supporting our Red for Ed. I'm not even going to try to announce everybody, so thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm actually going to ask two of our members who are serving today. We actually have more than two, but right now I'm just going to ask two of our members who are serving today to actually end the portion with the legislators speaking. I'm going to ask first Senate Chairman of Finance and also a good friend of ours, a former president of NSEA, Senator Joyce Woodhouse.
Thank you. I had a big long speech, but because we have to get in on the floor, I'm going to make it very short. Thank you so much. Thank you for this awesome crowd. This is great to walk out. I just want to pledge to you again as a retired first grade teacher and school administrator that we are working very, very hard to make sure that we address the needs of public education in the state of Nevada. And number one on that list is to revise, modernize the Nevada plan. Our intent is to make sure that funding is made available to our students. This program, this new formula will be student-centered so that the money follows the student into the schools where they are, and that we also take into consideration the needs of our children, our students in our schools today. Because Nevada is no longer 1967, we are 2019, and we want to make sure that we do that. Thank you so much.
And our final legislative speaker is a fifth grade teacher. First and foremost, our friend and fellow union member, Brittany Miller.
Thank you so much. I'm actually now in 6th grade, but thank you. I started in 5th grade and moved up to 6th grade. Thank you so much. It's so great to see and so encouraging to see my fellow educators here today. My name is Brittany Miller, and I'm the Assemblywoman for District 5 in Southern Nevada. I'm here today because I also share your support for public education. As a teacher myself, I know firsthand what needs to be done in education. In the last election, Nevadans, as well as teachers, spoke loud and clear that education needs to be our first priority. We have a new governor who also states that education needs to be a priority. Nevadans are sick of our schools constantly being ranked dead last. And I'm sick of teachers being blamed for that. Because our teachers are not 50th out of 50. Our effort is not 50th out of 50. And if you consider the working conditions that Nevada teachers are working under, we have some of the hardest working teachers in the country. What is 50th out of 50 is our funding, our lack of resources, and our class sizes. Our parents and students are tired of our class sizes. We know that we have been identified as having some of the largest class sizes in the country. Parents and go ahead and move. Parents and teachers and students are also tired of the lack of resources and the lack of programs being cut due to funding. There's no reason why we don't have the necessary resources to educate our students. Nevadans want strong schools for our students. And for the first time since I've lived here, I truly feel the energy and the support coming from our fellow Nevadans, and even around the country, the state. I feel the support for public education and teachers. As teachers, we know how important our jobs are and how valuable our role is in the community as well as in the life of each individual kid. We know that public education is the ladder to the American dream. We know that public education, access to free public education for every student, is fundamental to our American values. And imagine for a moment this country without teachers and without public education. I stand in front of you today as an elected, but education's not just a talking point for me, nor is it for you. I, myself, as an educator, have over 40 kids in my classes. I, myself, am teaching off of photocopies because we don't have the necessary resources that we need for our students. I also am subject to excessive bureaucracy that impacts our creativity and instruction. Nevada teachers, I share your hopes, your frustrations, your long hours, and your stress. I have also felt the lack of support and devaluing. I share the financial obligations out of my own pocket to educate my students, just as you do to fund your classrooms. Moreover, and more importantly, I share your passion, your efforts, your energy, and your love for children, for learning, for public education, and for Nevada. Teachers, you haven't failed us. The system has failed you. It is time that you get the respect that you deserve for being the overly educated, highly skilled professionals you are. It is time to empower teachers as the instructional experts who know how to teach their individual children. It is time to restore the profession by creating conducive working conditions for the job you're expected to do. Yes. Nevada teachers, you are valuable and you are imperative to the state of Nevada. Nevada teachers, I hear you, I feel you, and I thank you for all that you do. The time is now. Things must change. We're at a tipping point. We have the leaders who are willing to have the tough conversations. Thank you for coming today. Continue to speak up and make your voices heard. Continue to unite. Continue to fight for this profession and for the children of Nevada, because you know I will.
So before our electeds go back in, I want to say, remember earlier I said, we see progress, we see hope? Yes! Behind us, I see progress, I see hope. Elections have consequences, and this is a result of our involvement in elections. We support legislators who support public education on behalf of NSEA. Thanks to all of you for coming and showing your dedication to our educators, to our teachers, our support professionals. Thank you.
I also want to make sure that we had a chance to hear from Senate Education Chair Mo Dennis.
I know it's cold. Thank you. First of all, thank you for being a teacher. As the husband of a teacher and a father of a teacher, a new teacher, I know the sacrifices that families have to make, and I know the sacrifices you're making. We are going to, as you've already heard, we've got some great things we're going to work on because we know what we need to do. We just need to step up and do it. Thank you so much for coming out, especially on a cold day with a lot of snow. I know we're all freezing, but it's great to have teachers in the house. Thank you.
All right, next on the speaking list, we also have within us, I'm sure we have some retirees, right? Yes, we have retirees. We have students also. We have teachers, but we also have support professionals. Without our support professionals, it would be hard to keep our schools going. So thank you for your hard work. I'd like to introduce next to you the president of the Washoe Education Support Professionals, Melissa Bozen.
And I am the president of the Washoe Education Support Professionals. I am wearing red today for our bus drivers, our custodians, our nutrition service workers, our secretaries, our clinical aides, our procedure nurses, our teachers, aides, and assistants, our groundskeepers who are currently busy right now cleaning our schools, our clerks, and don't forget those folks in IT. Today we are reminding our elected officials why funding matters to everyone. Our ESPs take care and support our students and staff's learning environment. We are paid just above poverty level, just enough not to get assistance from any of the programs that are available to us, but not a living wage. To say that we are in a funding crisis for all educators, including support professionals, is an understatement. Our monetary compensation, is that better? Our monetary compensation needs to match our work expectations. Many times, our support professionals are the first and last non-family members to greet your child. We are the smiling faces that, as they get on the bus, the friendly voice when you call the school aid, a special needs student, the aid a special needs student has for multiple years. We might be the person who helps your child find the perfect book in the library. We are those who help the struggling students who are behind or just need a little extra push. We are the ones who make sure their tummies are full so they can concentrate on their lessons. We are the ones who drive Nevada's future to and from schools. We are the ones who make sure the classrooms are not only clean, but are safe for all students and staff, which impact our learning environments. We do this every day with diminishing and dwindling pay and higher expectations placed upon us. Sorry, my fingers are cold and my paper is wet. We do this because we love our jobs, we love our community, and we want our students to succeed. That is why I wear red today, to show my support for all educators and public education across this great state. Thank you so much for coming out.
All right, one more time. Red for? Red! Red for? Red! Red for? Red! All right. Next up to speak on behalf of Fund Our Future is Michaela Tonkin. Michaela?
Hi everyone, I'm Michaela Tonkin with Fund Our Future Nevada. Our students are constantly judged by the grades they get on tests, and our teachers are always judged by the grades their students get. Well, what if we judge the state by the grade it receives? Did you know that Nevada ranks 47th in education funding? It got an F in fiscal effort for education funding by the Quality Counts report. It received an F in funding by the Education Law Center. That means that they are not providing us with the resources to get our students to succeed and to improve the scores which the entire student body and school body is judged on. Fund Our Future Nevada is a statewide coalition of educators, parents, educator unions, school board members, school districts, nonprofits, and even municipalities that are fed up with the way that Nevada has shortchanged its students with stagnant funding that hasn't even kept up with inflation over the last 10 years. We need a new funding formula that accounts for students with unique needs, because we know it costs more to educate some students, and some students need more resources, and that's okay. They deserve it. We need to ensure that new funding for education actually increases education funds. We've all heard what happened with marijuana, but are you aware of what happened with the room tax that was passed in 2009? This is a new revenue that teachers knocked on doors to get passed. Instead of increasing revenues, they actually take it into the budget and pull out the same amount from other tax dollars, leaving the budget flat. This is called supplanting. So far, the state has supplanted $1.2 billion that is meant for your schools and your students. If we allow the legislature to supplant these dollars again, that will be $400 million more dollars that our students won't see in increases. We need a formula that shows us where the money is going so that we know what is working and where we can make adjustments when needed. We need to support not just teachers, but the support professionals that drive our buses, serve as aides to our teachers, clean our classrooms, and keep our schools afloat. We need to increase dollars, not just for better salaries, but for smaller class sizes, for proper equipment and supplies, and programs that provide a well-rounded education. And lastly, we need to support every Nevada student. Our students don't care about North versus South, rural versus urban. They just want to learn and be successful. We can't let politics and our egos get in the way of that. We are educators and education advocates. we don't look at certain kids in the face and tell them that they don't matter because they are not ours. We can only accomplish this together, and Fund Our Future Nevada will be there to help, supporting and advocating for meaningful, real change, and the appropriate dollars that let our students know that we value them. Please go online and take our pledge at fundourfuturenv.com. Thank you.
All right, I see a sign back there that says, "Make America Smart Again." So I'm going to say, "Make America Smart Again." Make America Smart Again. Red for? Hey. Red for? Hey. All right. I'm going to try to keep you warm. My fingers are freezing right now. Next speaker is a student. And this is why we are here. We are here for our students. Everything that we do is for our students. But in order for us, whether we're teachers or support professionals, to make sure our students are successful, we need to make sure that we're compensated, that we have the resources and materials to make our students know that they are the future, and to deliver to the community, our allies, such as Fund Our Future, the best possible student that we can. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Nathan Noble, who is a junior at Worcester High School.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Night is cold, so let's get through the speech and see if we can't save my fingers. As I said, I'm a junior in high school. You know, as a student, school really is a cornerstone of my life. During the week, students just like me spend nearly half of our waking hours at school. For some students, it means getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. For some students, it means going through the rain and the snow all the way to get there. But no matter what, each one of us goes. We go for one simple reason. We dream of a better life. For generations, the American dream was realized through strong public education. It's the hope, the promise that every single child has the opportunity to achieve a better life if they work hard and get an education. At school, I get to be a chemist, I get to be a historian, and an author, all at once. School's where I'm supposed to be safe. It's where I should learn new things, and it's where I can leave any outside problems behind and just focus on making a better life for myself. Just like my peers, school's where I'm shaping my future. Every year, politicians from across the state, across the country, talk about how important education is. For students, it really is the key to unlocking a better life. But if education is so important, then it seems a little weird that we're 50th in the nation. It also seems weird that the budget for 2017 to 2019 was less than it was before, and was also less than the amount we're using to build the Raiders Stadium. Good point. Right now, total, our schools are ranked 49th in the nation. And all the while, class sizes grow, teachers have to use their own paychecks to turn right back around and buy classroom supplies. Lack of teachers, lack of funding. Students are stuffed into classrooms like sardines. It's claustrophobic. And our solution to lagging graduation rates, just to lower our standards. I've seen all of this. We students, we see this, sometimes on a daily basis. But I believe we can change. Because I also see something else. Every day, I see the tireless efforts of my teachers to make do under circumstances and to give us the best education possible, even without proper funding. And I also see all of you here, wearing red. Red for? Hooray! God, I love that. Now, it is true. Children are the future. We will inherit the world. We can't be expected to solve the world's problems if we are not properly educated, because our education is not properly funded. And although we have made progress, we still have miles to go. Make no mistake, the fact remains that we are 49th in the nation, 50th in class size. I suggest we change that. Let's make sure that every single child has that opportunity to make a better life for themselves, to realize the American dream. Borrowed from Franklin Roosevelt, we might not be able to prepare our kids. We might not be able to prepare the future for our kids, but we can prepare our kids for the future. So that's why I'm wearing red today. Red for? Make America smart again.
All right, our last speaker for today is a teacher in the Washoe County School District. He's a very smart gentleman. I look up to him a lot. I'd like to introduce Phil Kaiser.
Most of us have been in education long enough to have been in a meeting at some point where somebody in the back couldn't hear, and eventually they'll shout out, "Use your teacher voice." We all know what that means. We have to raise our voice. We have to increase the volume. We have to make sure that we're heard in the back of the room, across the playground, in the governor's mansion, and down in Las Vegas as well. And that's why we're here today, to raise our voices for public education. And it's not just teacher voices. The first school district worker many kids see every morning is their bus driver. And halfway through the day, they see the cafeteria worker and the custodian and the nurse who bandages their knee and the aides that help them learn what they need to learn. We all have to raise our voice to be loud enough to be heard for all our kids. Because public schools take all the kids. We don't pick, we don't choose. We have to speak up for the kids who don't speak English. We have to speak up for the kids who have speech impediments and have special needs. We're here for them. We don't pick and choose. We educate all the kids. Now, if you look around you, it's obvious that a majority of our profession is female. And this year, for the first time ever, anywhere in the country, our legislature is a majority female. And for far too long, women's voices have not been given the respect they deserve. Don't you agree? And for too long, educators have not been given the respect they deserve. Don't you agree? Recently, educators across our country have raised their voices for public education, and for too long, Nevada has been near the bottom of the nation. But Nevada, our students can do better. For Nevada, we must do better. And with the help of our friends here today, we will do better. If you believe it's time for Nevada to give our students and educators what they deserve, let me hear your voice. If you're a retired or future educator, let me hear your voice. If you're a nurse or a counselor, let me hear your voice. If you're a support professional, let me hear your voice. And if you're a teacher, let me hear your teacher voice. For our kids, for our community, for Nevada, now everybody, let me hear your voice and let them hear your voice.
All right, I want to thank everybody for coming out here on a cold morning, braving the roads. This shows your dedication. It shows that you care enough to give up your day off to come in here and have your voices heard. So thank you very much. On behalf of the Nevada State Education Association, representing educators all across the state, to WEA, to WESP, to UCN, thank you for being here. Now, the day is not over. what we would like for you to do, if you can, go inside to the building, and if you want to go to the assembly, make a right and go upstairs and fill the galley, or downstairs gallery. And then if you want to go to the Senate, there's less seats up there, but make a left and go that way. If you are so inclined to stay until 1:30 when the Senate Education Committee meets, we would love for you to come. And if you want to give comments on why you support Red for Ed, we suggest you say, I am Red for Ed because I am for smaller class sizes. I'm a support professional who needs better working conditions, whatever. We invite you to come and make public comment. And that is in room 2134. So, one last thing, if you have a sign, if you could leave it with one of the staff members. You can't take signs inside. I love these signs. I teach my students to stand up for themselves. And now it's my turn. Now it's our turn to stand up for our students, to make sure that we have the benefits, the working conditions, the resources in order for us to retain and recruit teachers, to make this a profession which once was desirable, which once was held to high regards. We need to build it back, and we can only do it with your help. So thank you very much for coming. And why are we wearing red? Hooray! Let's make America smart again. All right, thank you everybody for coming. This is great. Thank you.